Hi, this is Joel Berman from Mortgage News Network. At NAM National in our broadcast plaza, I have the pleasure today to be with Joyce Pullison of Brokers Compliance Group. We are here today to discuss compliance, and we have one particular issue that we're going to be discussing. Joyce, as you and I have discussed in the past, and I know you've come to our studio, compliance is something that a lot of people sometimes take the wrong approach to and sometimes cut corners and actually expose themselves. One of the things I've said, and you've heard me say it, is the cost of compliance is not the issue, it's the cost of not complying. And one of the issues that you're here today to discuss is a very important one, and that's AML, the Anti-Money Laundering Compliance Requirements. I know that you've discussed this in the past, and I've seen it in articles that you've written, as well as Jonathan Fox of Brokers Compliance Group. Some people think that just getting a manual that has a boilerplate contents and doing a mail merge and put their name in there and putting it on the shelf meets the requirement. From what I've heard from you, that's a false sense of security. You're able to get away with it until the day you have an audit, when they come in and they take a look at that manual and say there's absolutely no value whatsoever. What can you say to the broker community and the mortgage community regarding the importance of the AML requirement being met and the potential danger of not meeting it?
Right. I think one of the first issues to be addressed is a lot of brokers we're finding don't understand that they are subject to the AML program requirements, which is more than just a policy manual. And it doesn't matter how big or small your firm is, everybody's subject to the same requirements. And those requirements include, as you were referencing, policies and procedures, the appointment of a BSA officer, training, which is particularly important, and an audit, which is supposed to be conducted every 12 to 18 months. With the policies and procedures, you're right. The regulators and examiners don't want to see an off-the-shelf policy. Lots of times we see, a one-man shop with really a depository AML template that they're using, and it serves as no value because 95% of what's in there doesn't pertain to them. So you want to make sure that that your policy reflects your actual business procedures and what you actually do in your own shop. The second thing you want to do is make sure that you have a BSA officer who is responsible for the AML program. Usually the BSA officer is the one to whom any suspicious activity is reported. They do the investigations. They make determinations whether or not to file a SAR. And one thing to keep in mind that makes people a little nervous making that judgment is that filing a SAR, making a determination to file a SAR, is an inherently subjective judgment, and you're not going to be criticized as long as you have an AML program in place that meets with FinCEN's requirements. If you don't, you're subject to criticism there. The third thing is training. You always want to have training on your particular policy, not a blanket training, webinar that you can get online. And if you do that, you want to have something training supplemented for your specific policies, procedures, and also the penalties. The penalties can be huge. You're talking millions of dollars if you fail to comply with the AML policies. You're talking, criminal and civil liability. You're talking forfeiture of even loan collateral. So it can be very significant. The last piece of the AML program is an audit of your AML program itself. A lot of people misconstrue this and say it's an AML test on my policy, which it is to a degree. But during the audit, which we do at Brokers Compliance Group, we're looking not only at your policy, making sure to ensure that it reflects your actual business practices, but we're also looking to make sure there's training, which should be on an annual basis. And you want to make sure you're conducting training within 30 days of hire for all new hires, of onboarding for all new hires. And again, the training should be specific to your firm's policies and procedures. We're also looking to see that you have a BSA officer who has some knowledge, and we're looking to see that you are doing the audit every 12 to 18 months. Lots of times we're asked if you can do the audit in-house. Typically, the answer is no, because it can't be done by a loan originator, and it can't be done by the BSA officer or anybody reporting to the BSA officer. So you're often subject to going to outside firms who are competent enough to conduct that audit. And again, that's one of the things that Brokers Compliance Group does, as well as we are engaged in AML training and, of course, drafting AML policies and procedures to conform to your company's activities.
Joyce, two things for those viewers that don't know. An SAR is?
Oh, a suspicious activity report, which is required to be filed with FinCEN anytime the amount involved is over $5,000. And then if various other activities, basically you're looking for fraud or terrorist activity taking place, if you suspect it at all, if there's anything strange, and you're looking for red flags, you're asking yourself, is this transaction unusual? You're looking to see if there's anything, if the applicant is secretive about certain things. Red flags would include things such as an altered document. You're looking for forgeries. You're looking for identifications that don't match what you have on file. Some simple things such as the picture on the ID doesn't match the individual in front of you. You're looking for social security numbers that don't match the date range where it should be, or the numbers on a master death list, things like that. We're also looking for, appraisal fraud, and owner occupancy fraud. If you're doing a refi and the appraiser comes back that the property is vacant or there's a tenant and it's supposed to be an owner occupancy refi, that's a sign that there's something wrong and you need further investigation.
And just one last thing, just so everyone understands, this reaches down to a mortgage broker requirement. They can't say, well, this is my lender's responsibility.
No.
So that is an important thing that everybody has to understand.
Yeah, it's absolutely. The regulation encompasses everybody. Virtually every mortgage broker and lender is defined as a residential mortgage loan originator for the purpose of the Bank Secrecy Act, and everyone, no matter how big or small your firm is subject to the program requirements.
Well, Joyce, I thank you for joining us here at the Broadcast Plaza. Once again, the cost of compliance is not the problem. It's the cost of not complying. And the Brokers Compliance Group has a lot of articles related to AML, anti-money laundering, and a lot of other subjects that will really be valuable for you as far as compliance is concerned. So visit them. That's Joel Berman from the Mortgage News Network in NAM National, Las Vegas. Thank you.
Thanks, Joel.
Okay, perfect.
This is Mortgage News Network.